Will Arizona remain undefeated in the Big 12? Probably not. But Damon and I are going to give our picks and predictions for the remainder of the Big 12 schedule in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. It's the AZ Wildcats Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the AZ Wildcats Podcast. I'm your host, Damon Fairall, with my main man, Kevin, pressing the buttons, doing it all behind the scenes. Arizona coming off a massive win where they controlled West Virginia last night. Huge W by 19 points to move the Wildcats to 3-0 in the Big 12 Conference. Obviously a, gauntlet of a conference, Kevin, toughest conference in the country. And we're going to go through and give you our takes on toughest matchups remaining, toughest players that they have remaining, and really just kind of run down how far we think Arizona is going to be able to make it into the Big 12. But first off, Kevin, how you living today? How we feeling?
It's a good day, Damon. The Arizona victory last night really bumped up my spirits. I was in a good mood anyway, but now I'm just in an extra good mood. Woke up with a smile on my face today. Thank you, Arizona basketball, Damon, I'm excited to talk a little bit about what Arizona's got going on. But, first and foremost, Damon, I'm thankful that Arizona's in the Big 12. Aren't you?
I am.
Like, aren't you hyped to look at this schedule and look at the top 25 and just look at all our conference brethren in the top 25. Like, it's beautiful. I'm excited to talk about Big 12 basketball and not be talking about, will Arizona be able to show up in Stanford? It's like, bro, no more of that. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about some real teams with real aspirations, with real talent.
In front of about 15 people in Palo Alto there.
Yeah, 15 med majors.
Absolutely. Honestly, Kevin, I was doing really good today, and I was feeling pretty strong going into this show. And then I realized that I didn't put my coffee next to me on either one of these tables in any which direction, and it automatically just kind of went into the gutter. So
yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Definitely gonna be thinking about that and just kind of sad about that. Rest of the way, but not sad about our Arizona Wildcats. Like you said, Kevin, Big 12 conference, it feels good. Feels great, actually.
Feels great, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that going into this year, obviously from a Arizona basketball perspective, Arizona basketball fans are nuts, and in a good way. We have a very passionate fan base, very high expectations, as we should for the caliber of program that we are. But when we lose games, when Arizona loses games, this fan base freaks out, right? You saw the 5-5 start. You got a select few calling for Tommy Lloyd's head.
Crazy people.
Yeah, crazy people for sure. But that's Arizona basketball, right? That was going to be the kind of the adjustment period I think that Arizona basketball fans were going to have to make going into the Big 12. You can't expect wins night in and night out. It doesn't work like that. This is not the Pac-12, like you said. This is not, we'll roll into Utah and take care of business. We'll roll into Corvallis and take care of business. Like, these are night in, night out. You got legit basketball teams that are vying for tournament bids. The bottom half of this conference that doesn't make the tournament, Kevin, is going to be significantly better than the top of the Pac-12 when Arizona was just dominating the Pac-12. Outside of maybe Oregon here and there, who had a couple decent teams, but it just goes to show that this is truly a gauntlet of a conference, and getting out to a 3-0 start, getting out to a fast start is almost a necessity if you want to, maybe have a chance at winning this thing.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think the biggest thing for Arizona that you just alluded to is that they're banking wins early in this conference, right? Because
absolutely,
again, with the way they started, like you said, 5-5, Arizona fans, rightfully so, we're a little trepidatious about, a little cautious about entering the conference play, seeing okay, what has this team really got in them? And we found out over the last 3 conference games that Arizona is right there with the top of the top in the Big 12, like we predicted preseason. But Damon, I'm excited because what makes me most excited about the Big 12 is the fact that coming to McKale are teams that really matter. You know what I mean? I think you mentioned that Arizona would have, we mentioned that Arizona would have sleepy games in Stanford or against Cal or whatnot. But the teams that are coming into McKale, oh man, that environment, that place give them a reason to get loud, and they don't even need a reason. But when you give them a reason, they get extra loud. And I'm excited for conference play, Damon. Arizona banking wins early is the biggest thing because you do have the top of the top teams in this conference that you're going to need to beat. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but you're not going to win every game in the conference. And so to bank wins early is such a massive thing.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it, like Duke, that game in McKale, you want to see like what it's like when a big game. I mean, obviously Duke kind of stifled the crowd and controlled the game throughout, but that start of that game was just pure electricity inside of McKale Center, and it's because a legit basketball team was on the other side of the floor going up against the Wildcats. And McKale Center isn't really used to that. As big home games have kind of been weeded out of non-conference schedules. Tommy Lloyd's been a little bit different about it, kind of scheduling some home and homes with the Wisconsins and the Dukes in the world, but most teams are not scheduling these type of opponents in true road games. And so getting legit basketball teams in McKale is new. Like, we're not really used to that. We're used to getting up for playing UCLA and getting up for playing Oregon. That's what our fan base is used to, right? So it definitely feels good to be like, even though we don't maybe have the same trepidations and feelings towards the other fan bases that we're playing yet, we will get there. But yet, I just think that the high level of basketball that is going to be played is something that you can't turn your nose up at. Like, that's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be super, super fun to watch play out throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like the biggest thing for Arizona hoop heads especially is like, we watch every Arizona basketball game regardless of what conference they're in, right, Damon? But it makes it so much more rewarding as a fan when you can watch the top talent just go at it, right? Like you that's what you live for as a basketball fan, right? Watching games that matter with your team involved. And now that Arizona's in the Big 12, they're going to be in a lot of games that matter, and hopefully they're going to be taking a lot of them home, right? That's what I'm excited for. And Damon, do you expect Tommy Lloyd to continue that trend of doing the big blockbuster home and homes?
Yeah, because I think the early years of Tommy's tenure, right? Like, that wasn't his schedule. That was a Sean Miller made schedule from Sean Miller's backroom front office staff that isn't necessarily like you're not seeing them on the forefront, but they're within the athletic department, like essentially the front office of the basketball team. Tommy Lloyd is clearly someone that wants those games, wants that pressure. It is interesting, and it will be interesting to see, was that a circumstance of maybe thinking that we were going to be in the Pac-12, trying to get some legitimate games in that non-conference slate to counteract that really pathetic conference schedule? I don't know. Maybe it tempers down now that he knows that conference schedule is going to be a gauntlet. But I'm inclined to believe that it's going to be a lot of good non-conference games under Tommy Lloyd, and that's you live for that stuff. Like, that is absolutely the type of program that I want to be a part of. Like, I think Lute Olson notoriously scheduled the most difficult non-conference opponents, and his teams were battle tested. And Tommy Lloyd is just taking a little bit of a page out of that book, and you love to see it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the most practical, like, actual application of why Tommy Lloyd would be doing this, we know Tommy Lloyd is not a clicks guy. He's not a guy about attention on himself or the program. He's all about for attention for Arizona, but it's not like his primary focus when he's doing these things. I think DJM said it in the chat best earlier that Tommy let team chemistry build over a non-conference schedule just to guess. I think that's part of why he schedules these incredibly tough home and homes, because when you go through the gauntlet early, right, you learn a lot about who you are as a team. And we've watched this season, Arizona fans. We've watched this. Arizona struggle early, but learn from those struggles. And by the time they get to conference play, here they are 3-0 in conference play, looking like the best they've looked all year because of those early struggles that they've got the opportunity to learn and develop from. And I think that you don't get those if you're only playing the Canisiuses and the Old Dominions and the Eastern New Mexico and the Point Lomas. You have to go through a Wisconsin on the road, a Duke at home. You know what I mean? Like, you have to play in those holiday invitationals.
No doubt.
I think it's the best way to prepare your team for the games that matter most. And I think having a coach leading the program that we support that has that mindset of how can I prepare my guys in the winter for the spring and not the other way around. I think that's a really encouraging sign.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Like we talked about and teased earlier, we are going to get into a couple report cards that me and Kevin put together, some little conference predictions the rest of the way. Real quick before we get into that, though, Kevin, I just want to shout out everybody in this chat.
Shout out
all of my bestest friends in the world. Some people call them family. Erica, DJM, McLovin, David, my boy David, Bear 520 down. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure you guys like this video if you're watching. We really appreciate it. It helps Kevin sleep at night.
It does.
Kevin, did you get good sleep last night?
I got pretty decent sleep. You know, people love the post game.
I think we have about 70 likes on the post game.
Yeah, it was a great night. Arizona won. It was beautiful. KJ Lewis looked like Michael Jordan, as Bear Down said in the chat.
Well, I said LeBron.
Yeah.
So now we got Michael Jordan from Bear 520 down. I said LeBron. Who's next? Who's next for KJ Lewis?
Kareem?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a tough with the big man comparison.
7 block game.
Trying to think of like
UCF
another.
Coming up.
Who's the next best wing in NBA history? Because that's who KJ Lewis is. Or that guy. Whoever he is.
You know, we should do this as like a little
KD?
thought experiment after the show. Like who actually is, like, if you had to make him an all-time player, like who would his comp actually be? That'd be fun. But yeah, Damon, I mean, the vibes could not have been better on that post game. People loved it. We loved seeing all of you guys there last night who were there for the post game. And if you want to see another post game, we got one coming up against UCF here on Saturday. So after that game, me and Damon will be going live as well. So make sure to tune in for
Erica,
that.
I absolutely did call you my best friend. My bestest friend, actually. And everybody in this chat, all my closest friends in the world. All right, Kevin, let's get into our conference predictions. I'll let you start it off. What do you think we're going to go through and do hardest remaining? We're going to predict our record in the Big 12, the remaining 20 games of this season. It's 20, I believe, correct?
Yes.
So
just 20 overall conference games.
Yes. 20 overall. Total?
Yeah.
Okay. 20 conference games. We're predicting that conference record. We're going to go through who we think the team might lose to across that schedule, what the toughest road game is, what the toughest home game is, and then what that toughest single player opponent is going to be remainder of the way. And so, like I said, Kevin, I'll let you start this guy off here.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that really quickly after this ad break right here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more for you. All right, Damon. I didn't eat breakfast this morning. I came in here with a pretty ragtag, thrown together lunch, as you saw. It is just some food and some foil. But if I had HelloFresh today, Damon, I think I'd be eating a lot better.
Yeah.
With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients, seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. It's easy to find time to eat well with 50 wholesome, hassle-free meals to choose from each week delivered to your door. I actually used HelloFresh in college when I was at Arizona, Damon. I used it quite a bit. It helps you get in the habit of cooking whole healthy meals at home by yourself or for your roommates or for whatnot. And they're not joking about the selection that they have. You can literally go through, and if you like more savory stuff, go for all the beef and gravy and potatoes and all that. But you can also have some lighter options. They have healthier options as well. But just make sure that when you do use HelloFresh to let us know about it, because if you're chefing it up, I love food, so let me see it. Send me a tweet or something like that. But you can get up to 10 free meals and a free high protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/Wildcats10FM. That's HelloFresh.com/Wildcats10FM. One item per box with an active subscription. Free meals applied at discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/Wildcats10FM.
And of course, Kevin, we're going to talk about one of our favorite sponsors here at PHNX. It's our friends over at Branded Bills, the most comfortable hats that any of us own here at PHNX. We talk about it all the time. Make sure you guys are elevating your brand with Branded Bills. If you guys have a law firm, a softball team, a family get-together, family reunion, vacation trip, you guys want any sort of custom apparel, Branded Bills is going to be the place to hit up because they got it all. They got headwear, they got apparel, they got, anything that you could really want your little heart could desire, snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees. Branded Bills got you covered. And of course, if you use our promo code PHNX, you're going to get 20% off that first purchase. So any sort of custom headwear, Arizona fans, they got a huge U of A collection to sort through. They got the cactus logo, state outline, red, blue, gray, camo, white, black, anything your heart desires, as I said before. Local company out of Mesa, Arizona, so they love their cats. Head to brandedbills.com and use code PHNX for 20% off that first purchase. Well, we teased it, Kevin. We got our predictions for the remainder of this Big 12 season. And let's go ahead and just get straight into it, huh?
All right, so for mine, Damon, as you can see here, I have Arizona going 17-3 in the Big 12 conference. I am very high on the Wildcats as they are currently instituted. I have our toughest road game on the schedule being Kansas at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Don't be fooled by the fact that they were just outdone by West Virginia. That place is tough to play, just as tough as it was just a week ago. Our toughest home game, Damon, boy, there are some good options for that one, but I think it's probably Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State, we'll talk about it here in a second, but Iowa State is just dominating the teams that they're playing. And we had a good discussion about this pre-show. There's a couple good options. I'm going to say our toughest opposing player matchups-wise will be Norchad Omier from Baylor, the former Miami and Arkansas State product. He's a beast. He's a beast, Damon. Norchad Omier is 8th in the nation in rebounding, 24th in field goal percentage, averages 15.7 points and 2 assists. But I think what's most impressive about Norchad Omier, he's very efficient. He's efficient in what he does. He's good defensively. And not only that, and I think this is less a tribute to my answer of making him the toughest opposing individual, but I think when you pair him next to VJ Edgecombe, I think like that defensive wing combo is nasty. They get after it. And I think that only amplifies what Norchad is able to do on the basketball court. And so, I'm always impressed with him. I'm always impressed with Baylor basketball as well. And those are my predictions. We were going through the Baylor roster a little bit beforehand, and man, do they have a good team. I think VJ Edgecombe is the 4th leading scorer on the team, averaging double digits. They really do have a solid, just top to bottom roster. Norchad Omier, a lot of you might remember him. He was on Miami in that Final Four run, was kind of their defensive presence on that team. Really, really good big man. And I just learned this right now, Kevin, from Nicaragua. Yep, indeed.
Electric. You don't see too many Nicaraguan basketball players, I feel like.
Our guy David in the chat says his nickname is Baby Food, which is elite. I don't know why that is his nickname, but that's pretty cool.
I mean, if you I feel like that's what you call the opponent, when you score on them.
No, yeah.
Their baby food. But I don't know. I mean,
Russell Westbrook just
I'd love
alternate to this and maybe do an airplane. Here comes the airplane.
I'd love a little rundown on the backstory of that, to be honest with you. Maybe we'll get into that when that Baylor game is coming up.
He also, Damon, I think one of the more impressive things about Norchad Omier is he's 6'7", so he's able to play a small ball 5.
Yeah.
But they use him in 4 of their most frequent lineups as a center. So I think, and it's either him or Josh Ojinwuna. I probably butchered that, but I gave it my good old college try. That's my Arizona education working for me right there. But I think Norchad is going to be one of the tougher matchups for Arizona because of his two-way impact. And I think let's talk a little bit about those two matchups I had in there, Damon, as our toughest road and homes.
For sure.
I think Kansas is kind of self-explanatory. I'm not scared off by their loss to West Virginia at home. I think the fans are going to show up no matter what in that place. It's not going to change the environment that Arizona's walking into, and that's the last game of the year as well. So you never know what you're going to get with that thrown in there. And I think Iowa State, Iowa State, Damon, is truly, truly impressive. Just destroyed Baylor 74-55. That team that we were just talking about, of how awesome Baylor is and how well coached they are and how lengthy and defensively disciplined they are, got blown out by Iowa State, Damon. And so Iowa State, they are suffocating teams on both ends of the court, which is crazy to say. They are top 10 in defensive efficiency, top 5, I believe, in offensive efficiency. So yeah, Iowa State is my toughest road matchup. And people out there might be like, 17-3, Kevin, you're crazy. I can't in my right mind predict Arizona to lose a home basketball game. That is not what Arizona basketball is about.
It's just not in your makeup.
Arizona basketball does not lose at the McKale Center. I know Duke happened, but we don't talk about that. All right? It just doesn't happen, and it definitely doesn't happen twice this season. So I think that Arizona basketball will go undefeated at home for the remainder of the year. That is my big, bold prediction.
Undefeated at home. You heard it here first,
for the remainder.
folks.
For the remainder of this season.
I mean, that's undefeated in conference at home.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's facts.
That would be nothing short of remarkable. We were talking a little bit before off air, Kevin, and I told you if they go 17-3 in conference, despite the bad non-conference, I think that's a 1-seed team. 17-3.
It should be, considering the teams that you have to beat to get there.
In the Big 12, bro? That is unbelievable. The teams that they'd have to beat
well, because the 3 losses I have, right? Obviously all road losses. On the road to Baylor, on the road in Kansas, and on the road in Iowa State. I don't think you beat Iowa State twice. We're going to talk a little bit about that with your predictions as well. But I think you lose either one of the home or road games with Iowa State. And like I just said, I can't in good conscience say Arizona's going to walk into McKale Center and lose. And so, yeah, Damon, that is my remainder of the Big 12 conference play predictions.
Yeah, no, I like it, Kevin. I like where your head's at. Definitely hope your version happens, because 17-3 would be unbelievable to watch, and we'd kind of be on top of the world if we won the Big 12 in basketball, the toughest basketball conference in the country, first season being in the Big 12. My head would be pretty big. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, we would look like Eric Ruby and Anthony Totri walking around here the way they talk about their team on the football field.
Except, our team is like genuinely relevant.
Agreed. I totally agree. I'm just saying you and I would be unsufferable. And then all the momentum that they thought that they had and all the bragging rights they thought get that out of here, bro. Get that out of here. Because the real sport that really matters is Arizona basketball. Everybody knows we run the entire state. Everybody knows.
And just to what you talked about earlier, having Kansas as that toughest road matchup, I think that's probably consensus toughest place to play in the entire country.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pick a different game than that, right? Like that Kansas, when you go to Allen Fieldhouse, like you expect it to just be shaking essentially the entire time. You look up essentially any article, best home court advantages in college basketball. Kansas is always number one. You ask, you go on Reddit, you ask that same question. Regular people are telling you it's got to be Kansas. Kansas is easily the best. Like I think that there's no question about that Kansas is going to be the toughest road environment. But there are some other tough road environments on the schedule as well. Like a Texas Tech team is really, really tough to play at Texas Tech. They're 11-3 right now. Haven't really played a gauntlet of a schedule necessarily. Lost to the only ranked team they've played thus far, but did beat BYU at BYU. But yeah, when Texas Tech has a good record, and that game's coming up here, it's 3 games from now. When Texas Tech has a good record in basketball and Arizona basketball comes into town, I guarantee that place is going to be unbelievable as well. So that might have been my number 2 there. But why don't we go ahead and check out my rest of conference predictions? I'm going with 14-6, a little bit less high on this team than Kevin is. I got 3 more losses mixed in there, which is obviously a big amount more, but I'll roll through them real quick. I just kind of loosely did this, but I just think that this conference is so tough. 14-6 is an incredible record in the Big 12. Like I don't have any issue with that. But I have us losing that game at Tech, as I previewed right now. I think that that's just a really tough place to play. That'll be Arizona will have won, in my opinion, a few games in a row at that point, maybe coming off of a big win against Baylor potentially, and then kind of a letdown performance at Texas Tech. It's kind of where my head's at. I think they lose one of those Iowa State games, as you mentioned. I think it really, really tough for me to say that I think that Iowa State is gonna be swept by Arizona, because they are just such a good basketball team. I mean, you look at them, they're the 4th ranked Ken Pom team right now. It's tough to sweep a team that's that good. Then I also have on here that Houston game, which we'll get into a little bit more as I keep going through these predictions. At Baylor, I'm going to put on there. At Kansas in that last game of the season, as we've talked about. And then this one is kind of a little bit less of like I don't think Arizona's as good as them, but more that I just think that this is, it's just a prediction, you know. It could be wrong, it could be right, but I just think BYU, really, really tough place to play. Crazy home court advantage over there in Provo. And yeah, I think that could be a real letdown spot as well, that BYU game. So definitely have that one circled on my calendar. Could lean maybe not taking that one off, but it'd be tough. I'd be tough served to just like predict on the rest of the way, Kevin, thinking that they're just going to beat every team that they're better than on paper. That's not really how basketball works.
It's not how basketball works. It's not how the human brain works, you know, in relation to like performance and expectation. I said what I said about not predicting them to lose at home, but like you said, like you pointed out, there's just a lot of really tough matchups in this conference, and you're just not going to walk out of every fight that you get into unscathed without any scratches. And it's going to be a fight every year in the Big 12 conference. And I think Arizona, you know, I have them coming out with just a few less scratches than you do, but neither of us are insane and think that Arizona is going to walk through the Big 12.
Well, 17-3 is pretty close to walking through.
That is true. I didn't say it'd be easy though. Like it's Arizona just doesn't lose at home. You know, they definitely not more than once. So but yeah, no. Realistically, I think that it's very tough, and there are a lot of very tough matchups in this conference. Most importantly, there are a lot of incredible coaches in this conference, Damon.
For sure.
And I think that is because talent comes and goes in college basketball, right? But I think when you're in a conference with elite coaching, that takes it to a different level of stability, and you expect the teams around you in the conference to come back with the same fight that they had last year. You don't expect any waiver from a Kelvin Sampson in Houston. You know, you don't expect any waiver from an Iowa State. You don't expect any waiver from a Baylor to a lesser extent. So yeah,
I mean, you're looking at, I don't know how other people feel about this, but when you look at the coaches in this conference, you got Bill Self, Kelvin Sampson, Scott Drew, Tommy Lloyd. Are those 4 of like the top 5 coaches in the entire country that I just rattled off? I mean, yeah, definitely, like you said, like it's not only is it the best players, but it's the best coaches in the country as well. 5 of a Kind Media says Texas Tech held up in Provo last night. Yeah, they got a 5-point W in Provo. Part of the reason I think this Texas Tech team is legit. But yeah, I mean, it's like I mentioned earlier, it's basketball. You can't use the transitive property like that to determine outcomes of games. Once we get there, we'll see. Don't think Arizona's a worse team than BYU. Not saying that whatsoever. Just a general little prediction that I got going on, just because I think it's hard to just consistently win games in the Big 12, and in that part of the schedule, I think that feels like. I'll rattle off these games for you here, Kevin.
Yeah, let's go through it.
Let me tell you like this stretch of games, and it'll kind of explain why I think that this BYU game could potentially be a letdown spot. So after this Texas Tech game on the road,
okay,
let's just who cares what happens in that game? Win, lose, whatever.
Okay.
You go at Oklahoma State, which is probably the worst team in the conference, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Got to be a dub. Then you play Colorado at home. Got to be a dub.
Yep.
Then you go at home versus Iowa State. You know, that could easily be a loss. Not saying it won't be. Then you play ASU. You should win that game. You play BYU. You should win that game. You play Texas Tech at home. Probably should win that game. You play Kansas State at Kansas State. They're one of the worst, the lesser teams in this conference, I'd say. So when you're looking at that, like, I just think that BYU game falls kind of in a place in that schedule where if they beat Iowa State, Kevin, they're going to be on like a pretty sizable win streak if they somehow beat BYU as well. So I'm just trying to kind of throw a loss and kind of in the mix there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, throw a wrench into something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Nothing ever goes perfectly.
That's where my head was at with that. But let's get back to my report card and go through just the final kind of superlatives that I gave out here. Toughest road game, Kansas, easily. We talked about it already. Toughest place to play, probably in the entire country. And another quick note on that would be fun, Kevin. What if this is for the Big 12 title?
See, that's kind of what I was alluding to about like it being the last game of the season, and you never know what that game is going to end up meaning.
Feels on purpose, right?
It kind of, yeah.
Like first ever Big 12 matchup between Kansas and Arizona. They make it the final game of the entire regular season.
Man.
That, to me, that feels purposefully done by our Big 12 overlords that are making the schedule, and I think that would be pretty much like, as far as regular season basketball goes, because I think a lot of us Arizona fans, like, we're not really moved by the regular season basketball anymore.
But that's what I was saying earlier. Now we are.
I know.
Now we are.
I was going to say that's going to move me. Like, I'm going to wake up that morning, like first thought immediately, oh, we got Kansas tonight.
Yeah.
Like I never did that really in the Pac-12. And if that game can somehow come down to a final kind of like championship style matchup like that would just be so unbelievable. And just really like goes to show how much different this conference is than
it's night and day.
Not only from
it's completely night and day.
Not only from like a play style standpoint and stuff, but just like a scheduling standpoint. How about logistics? How about having the wherewithal to say, hey, why don't we get our two biggest brands in the conference and match them up against each other at the last game of the season? The Pac-12 literally could never, Kevin, could never. The Pac-12 would say, yeah, we got Kansas, Arizona. Does 4 p.m. on a Tuesday? Does that sound like a good time slot for that game? Like it's
and we're gonna put it on a third party streaming service that is gonna lag and glitch out, and you're never actually.
It's on Pac-12 Network.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome to the show.
That's the one that's never gonna be stable and lag out the whole time. But if you want to get me fired up, Damon, give me love, give me Lloyd, give me the Wildcats in Lawrence, Kansas on March 8th, 4 days after the day of my birth. Oh my goodness. And we play Arizona State on my birthday. This is kind of, the stars are kind of aligning. If you want to get me fired up, Damon, March 4th through 8th, you will see a fired up Kevo, because I will be out here insufferable if Arizona is on fire in the month of March. That game in Lawrence, Kansas is going to be absolute cinema. I don't use that term lightly. But that is, you can't write a better ending to the season, especially if those two teams are battling it out for the Big 12 title, like you said.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to finish up with my report card there and talk a little bit of football recruiting news, because I don't know if you know this, Kevin, but we actually got a commit right before the start of this show. So we'll dive deep into that, man, as well, and all the much more right after this break on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Well, Damon, I know for a fact that I am thirsty this morning, and there's no better place when you're thirsty than Circle K. It's America's thirst stop. And if you haven't joined the Inner Circle already, what are you doing? You're missing out. It's a special club, the Inner Circle, Damon, because when you're in the Inner Circle, the easy to download membership app that you can literally, I did it at the pump. I literally just signed up right there, enter your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. And then after that, all you got to do is punch your phone number in when you're checking out at Circle K, and you'll get the free deals. Now, those deals that I alluded to, 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, and then 3 cents per gallon every day after that. Plenty of other membership exclusive deals and discounts as well. I know if you're in our area up here, then if you go to a Circle K, you can get a hot dog, a chips, and a drink for like $1.50, like $3. It's insane. The deals are crazy at Circle K. Enjoy your member exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop and Froster for just 79 cents. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
And while you're at Circle K, why don't you go into that beer cave with a K and pop in and get yourself some neutrals, Kevin. Neutrals, of course, our favorite seltzer. Should be your favorite seltzer as well, because it's a vodka seltzer that includes vodka, seltzer, and real juice. None of that malt crap like we were talking about last night, Kevin. Malt liquor and like making us, it's like, no.
Gross.
No, when I found out that these other companies were using malt liquor, I was genuinely disgusted.
Outraged.
No, I mean, because I thought that the White Claw type of situation and vibe or other competitors is like you pull up and you're like, I'm getting like a vodka soda at the bar. Not like that at all, but it is like that with neutral. That's the difference. That's the neutral difference. They got all kinds of flavors like pineapple, watermelon, black cherry, orange, and more. Nothing goes better with college football, college basketball, college sports than a neutral vodka seltzer. Our friend Erica, my best friend Erica in the chat, she's a big neutral girly, and of course, neutral. It's going to be the best way to have a good time on a little college game day action. Like I said, neutral, keep it tasty. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch neutral flavored vodka and carbonation, St. Louis, Missouri.
Shout out.
You from?
Yeah,
you're from St. Louis?
I think I am. If memory serves me correctly, I think that's where I was born. Yes.
You learn something new
every day.
Every day.
Yep.
We're about to learn some new things about Houston basketball, Kevin, because I have Houston as our toughest home matchup. I don't think that we win this game. I'll preface that right now by saying that I don't think that we're going to be able to take care of business at home and beat that Houston team, because I think Houston is just really, really damn good. And I think that they match up kind of good with Arizona. They're just so absurdly physical, right? I'm just having flashbacks and nightmares of that 2022 tournament where they absolutely just took it to us in the Sweet 16.
Pain and sadness.
And I just don't believe that another Tommy Lloyd led team is going to be able to match that Houston mentality in a one-on-one game. But I'd love to be proven wrong. I think Houston they're the number 3 overall Ken Pom team right now. They're number 16 in offense, Kevin. They're number 2 in defense, number 2 in the country in defense. They just beat the holy hell out of who was it? Was it UCF?
Yeah, I think it was UCF that they just absolutely demolished and destroyed.
Yeah, and obviously Arizona has UCF coming up here on their schedule. So that'll be an interesting matchup to monitor. But they beat TCU by 19. Obviously we struggled with TCU a little bit more than that. Beat BYU by 31. Beat Oklahoma State by 13. So their worst game coming against the worst team on their schedule thus far. And their 3 Big 12 wins have come by an average of 21 points per game, Kevin.
Wow.
21 points per game. Arizona could be in a similar spot if they didn't let leads just fly off the board against TCU in Cincinnati.
19,
because 19-point win against West Virginia, and you were up around that number against those other 2 squads as well. But I don't know, man. This Houston team they're another wagon. Kelvin Sampson is an incredible coach, and just how do you feel about kind of this matchup against the Cougars?
I was just going to bring that up, that you spoke to their defensive tenacity and just their overall fundamentally sound way of playing the game, and I was like, man, Kelvin Sampson does it again, right? Like, this is another example of a Kelvin Sampson team that just simply is a bunch of dogs. Like you were talking on the last night's post game about Jaden Bradley being a dog. And he is a dog. Jaden Bradley is a dog.
He'd fit on a Houston team.
Yeah, he would totally fit on a Houston team. But what I'm talking about is Houston has a whole team of dogs.
Yeah.
And that's just what Houston basketball has become under Kelvin Sampson. And I love that Arizona gets to match up with a team like Houston, because that's a big measuring stick game. Right?
No doubt.
If Arizona plays Houston close and loses, or plays Houston close and wins, either way, you have a new outlook on what this team's ceiling is in March. than you did before, because if you beat Houston, you can beat anybody, right? And
No doubt.
And so I feel like it's a huge measuring stick game. I don't disagree with your pick too much. Now, obviously, I had Iowa State as our toughest home game, but that's just because it's coming right up, chef, hot and ready, chef, because
Ding, ding.
Iowa State's on fire as well. You mentioned the Houston's number 3 in Ken Palm. Iowa State's number 4. They are right there, and I think when you look at how Iowa State suffocated the guy that I had as the toughest matchup for Arizona in Norchad Omier, and they forced VJ Edgecombe to struggle as well in that game. I just think Iowa State, the positioning on the schedule makes the game more difficult timing for Arizona than the Houston game, but I can't argue too much with you on picking the Houston as our toughest home game.
Yeah, and not to mention, this is the best 3-point shooting team that Kelvin Sampson has ever had, Kevin. So not only are they dogs, and we know that they lock in defensively and are like, that's going to be just an incredible test for this team in that regard, but they shoot 41% from 3 as a team so far this
41?
year. That's what I have down,
wow.
yeah. Which is just nuts, honestly. Another matchup, I just found this right here. Baylor and Houston play their final game of the season as well against each other.
Oh, that's going to be at
the Big 12 clearly is saying, hey, we're putting all of our big dogs against each other at the end of the season because we want these games to be going on simultaneously and really, really matter.
Do you know how good we're going to be eating that week, Damon?
Yeah.
We're going to be eating so good. The rivalry game right into all these other rivalry games. I'm speaking to Arizona versus ASU, and then Arizona rolls into Kansas, and then we have this Baylor Houston, and that we haven't even looked at the other teams' last games on the schedule. Like that's going to be electric. I cannot wait. Maybe we should do some
watch along.
Yeah,
style.
maybe we'll do the watch along at that point.
Yeah, that would like a little red zone maybe for some Big 12 basketball would be
7
huge.
commercial-free hours of college basketball with Damon and Kevin.
Sign me up, man. But yeah, I'm looking at it here. Confirmed 41.4% from 3 as a team.
Wow, it's
unbelievable.
What can't Kelvin Sampson and his teams do?
Emmanuel Sharp, Kevin.
He can't keep getting away with this, Damon. Kelvin Sampson cannot keep getting away with this. I'm tired of it, dude. It's crazy.
Emmanuel Sharp, Kevin, is shooting 5.6 threes per game.
Jay's a beast.
Can you guess his 3-point field goal percentage?
On how many attempts? 5?
5.6.
And they shoot 41% as a team. I'm going to say Emmanuel Sharp shoots 47.8% from the 3.
Wow. I mean, it's almost like I feel like it's weird situation here. It's like a dyslexia situation.
No.
Because it's 48.7.
No.
And you did 47.8.
Man, close though.
Yeah, 48.7% from 3.
That's crazy.
As their leading 3-point volume shooter. I mean, that's ridiculous in college. I mean, it's ridiculous anywhere, but it's like in college basketball, you just typically don't see shooting like that. Yeah, I mean, that Houston game is going to be so much fun. Here's just another quick little hit prediction, Kevin. Caleb Love's going to have a good game in that game if Arizona's going to want to win. Like you need Caleb Love to hit his shots. Not what we saw last night, not what we've seen a lot of this season. You need 25 plus points out of Caleb Love that night, or else you are losing to Houston, because it's going to be a lot of tough shot making in that game, given the defense that Houston has. And, we've seen a little bit more tough shot making from this team, but haven't seen that consistency out of our on paper best tough shot maker in Caleb Love. So I think that's going to be a lot on him. And then of course I have toughest matchup for a player that we have on our schedule rest of the way. I'm going with Hunter Dickinson. And how could you not? The guy's 40 years old. He's played college basketball for 20 years. He's a vet. He has lots of experience. He's battle tested. He's played in how many tournaments, Kevin? Like 15 NCAA tournaments. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. Hunter Dickinson, grown man, older than a lot of NBA centers. Like
grown man, still tripping dudes, by the way.
That's why he's in college basketball.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you gotta say. Like, he is. We were talking about this pre-show, and we kind of were. I was waffling back and forth on whether or not I wanted to just simply agree with you about Hunter Dickinson, because I think objectively he probably is the best player Arizona has left on their schedule, especially when you add into it the matchup of it all with him and that's going to be incredible. Him versus Veesaar, man, like
that's where I'm at with it, and
that
that's
could
why
feed families, Damon.
that's why I have it as the toughest matchup, because we've obviously seen from Henri Veesaar, the kind of growth in his game. He's taking advantage of matchups and guys that can't guard him. It'll be interesting to see when he goes up against a massive front court player like Hunter Dickinson, who has good fundamentals, lots of post moves, is kind of savvy and can get to the free throw line. So that's going to be an interesting matchup for Henry, and I think it'll go to show. I mean, it'll be at the end of the season, so we'll really know what how, it's not essentially like a measuring stick, because I think what the team is at that point. But it will go to show just like where our front court is, based off of how they can stifle a Hunter Dickinson, who was a first-team All-American last year, preseason first-team All-American this year, along with Caleb Love as the only two representations in the Big 12 conference. I think Hunter Dickinson is while he is what he is, and he's not like he's not gonna he's not the craziest basketball player of all time, right? Like he's not. I don't know that his ceiling is incredibly high as a player. He is just steady, and he has a ton of experience. And I just think that given our lack of experience in our front court, I think that's going to be the toughest matchup.
I agree, and you think of players that could give Arizona problems this year. I think of a player kind of like a Hunter Dickinson. I know that might sound kind of crazy based off of the schedule Arizona's played so far. There hasn't really been a lot of huge big players that have given Arizona trouble, but I don't see, like, you spoke to the front court matchups being a big deal, but I agree with you, because I just don't see a Trey Townsend or a Tobe Awaka being able to even move him off his spot, right? So it's just Veesaar. I say all that to say it's just Veesaar. So if Veesaar can perform well, that changes the outlook for Arizona in that game. If Veesaar is okay in that game, or if Veesaar, kind of lets Dickinson get going, or maybe not lets Dickinson get going, but if Dickinson gets going against Veesaar, then that's a huge issue. So I do concur with what you got to say there. And yeah, I think while Norchad Omier is my pick, I have no problem with your pick as well. Also, shout out to Erica in the chat who brought up that the women's basketball team, Arizona, Damon, plays Baylor in a huge game for them today. I believe Baylor's 12-3, a school that once wanted to sign Adia Barnes to be their head coach, and she is here. So you know how that went. But yeah, no, I'm excited.
She's gonna be the Kate Mulkey successor.
Yeah,
is that what they genuinely LSU hired Mulkey and they were like, we want Adia Barnes?
Yeah, I believe so. Eric can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe so. And I mean, if Arizona, it's a home game, right? So if Arizona women's basketball can beat Baylor tonight, that's huge. Another big conference victory ticked off, and you'll be 14-5 right now. And man, I think, Damon, I don't know if Arizona basketball or women's basketball is going to win tonight, but it is a big game. That game tips off at 6. If you're in town, buy a ticket, go support the women, go support the Lady Cats. And what else you got for me, Damon?
Yeah, keeping it on the topic of women's basketball for a quick second, we'd be crazy to not mention Lauren Swan getting her second Big 12 weekly honor, and she was awarded the Freshman of the Week honor for her 2 games that she played recently. 22-point game, a career high, first 20-point game of her career against Utah in a loss, where she knocked down 5 threes. We haven't covered this women's basketball team a lot. Jada Williams is the best player. Brea Cunningham is probably that number 2, but Lauren Swan is I think on paper got to be that third piece. And if she continues to play like that, I think that bodes well for this Wildcats team. Yeah,
no, I do agree with you, Damon. I think, first of all, I'll start here. Congratulations to Lauren Swan for that big honor. I think Adia Barnes has been able to get talent to come to Arizona. Like, it hasn't been top flight talent, but it's been weird, right? Talent comes in and then like the math just doesn't work out, and they end up going somewhere else.
Just bad at offense.
Yeah, and then the offense looks the way the offense does, and then players leave, and we don't have any depth, and it's just an issue. But no, I'm excited for the game tonight. Baylor 81% chance to win this game, according to ESPN analytics. The Bears are 2-1 against Big 12 opponents, which is they rebound very well. They're 8th in college basketball, women's college basketball in rebounding. So yeah, and Arizona's not the biggest team out there as well. So yeah, Damon, I'm excited for the game tonight. I'll be tapped in. Go Lady Cats. Hopefully they can pull off the upset tonight at home.
Yep, absolutely. And one thing that I can't believe I didn't mention it, Kevin, but Jada Williams, like literally my best friend in the entire world.
Oh yeah, how do we forget about friend of the Damon?
Yeah, me and Jada were hanging out on New Year's Eve, just a couple dogs, just like best friends would, you know. Hey, Kevin, you were hanging out with all your best friends on New Year's Eve, were you not?
No, I was, and you were hanging out with your best friends.
Correct.
So,
I absolutely was. Me and Jada, I got a selfie to prove it. New Year's Eve up here in Phoenix, by the way, guys. Walked into a house party after leaving some bars. It was very, very late, Kevin, and I went into a random house that I've never been in before, and I walked upstairs, and then all of a sudden I just look over and I go, Jada?
The Spider-Man meme?
Literally. And she was like, what's up? Pretty wild.
That's funny. I have a, is it, we haven't really discussed this. The rules, we don't really have rules for the Hall of Names yet. We don't even have the hall built. We're working on constructing the hall.
Well, let's get to that in a second here, right after this break on the AZ Wildcats podcast, Kevin.
Yeah, you're right, Damon. I got a little bit ahead of myself there, but I would not be getting ahead of myself to mention to you that Colt Cannabis has a brand new fire deal for all of you guys today. It's an insane deal. I found out about it yesterday and my mind was blown. The premium flower that Colt Cannabis has been dropping at True Leaf locations all around the valley is coming back with a new deal. Yes, that's right. 14-gram small bags, Damon. That's 14 grams in a small bag. The price, though? Just $80. That's right. Premium flower, 14 grams, $80, starting this Thursday, January 9th through this Sunday, January 12th. Score this deal by getting over to trueleaf.com to find your local store and shop either online and place an order and tell them we sent you over here at PHNX. The people at Colt Cannabis love us. We love them. We're thankful for all the product that they create and distribute to the world around them. It's a beautiful service that they do. But yeah, I just want to repeat that for the launch, they're doing an $80 bag starting Thursday, January 9th throughout the entire weekend, ending this Sunday. So don't miss it. Also, just in 3 days, the Maricopa True Leaf location's opening up January 11th. Be there or be square, Damon.
On that freeway drive to Maricopa, Kevin, I might stop off at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass because you're just going straight there, right? Like you're going down the 10. You go, you're headed to Maricopa. Oh, look, it's Chandler. Oh, look, it's Wild Horse Pass Casino. My favorite casino in the entire valley. Probably my favorite casino in the entire world, Kevin. Because you want to know why? It's not going to give you that Vegas kind of ick that you get sometimes. You know when you come back from Vegas and you're like, I need to take a shower.
You're exhausted. You're probably dirty,
sticky,
and you're drained physically and mentally.
Yes, not at Wild Horse Pass.
No,
you're gonna be relaxed,
refueled, even.
Oh, 100%. This is the place where you want to go on a staycation, hit the spa, really pamper yourself for just like a day or two. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. Just get out of the house, get away from the kids, maybe. Give them to grandma and grandpa. And then you head on over to Wild Horse Pass Casino or any of the 4 locations of our fine friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Lone Butte, Vikiva, Santan Mountain. And you hit up, they have beautiful establishments for restaurants, a huge pool, concerts all the time, comedy shows. Really, they got it all. It's popping over there at the casino. Like any type of casino, it's crazy vibes in there. Different strokes for different folks. Any type of vibe, they'll match that. And of course, they have the best gambling, 4,500 slots, live table games, all the action on the largest sportsbook casino in the state of Arizona at the upstairs at the Wild Horse Pass. Just an unprecedented level of entertainment and excitement that you won't find anywhere else in the desert, Kevin. And of course, we always host our events there. We have Suns watch parties that'll be going on throughout the season. maybe a Wildcats watch party potentially in the future. And we got Cardinals watch parties as well as that season rounds out to a close this past weekend. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, and visit playatgila.com for more details.
You know, Damon, I want to start by shouting out the chat again. Shout out to Mark McFarland, who is a U of A grad from 74, who says they enjoy the show and like the predictions. Thank you. Me and Damon, you know, we're putting ourselves out there with these predictions, man. I said we're going to go 17-3 in the Big 12. So I'm really
you could either look real stupid or like a genius, Kevin, at the end of this.
Hey, it's all on the Wildcats, right? It's all on them, right? But yeah, David, you know, there was I know you want to talk a little bit about some Arizona football stuff here in the last segment, but I want to mention, I think we're leaving the elephant in the room kind of unattended to.
Yeah.
There was a certain basketball player that took a visit to Tucson High and absolutely looked the part, Damon.
Yes.
Koa Peat made a trip down to Tucson to play at Tucson High recently. Damon, what was your impressions on Koa Peat? I know we weren't in the building there, but what was from what you saw of him, and what does it mean for him to be in Tucson around you know? There were U of A chants during his intro.
Yes,
that's
of course.
huge for him.
Yeah, no doubt. I think U of A fans clearly showed out. Didn't get to see a whole lot of highlights via Koa Peat and kind of what went on in the game. I saw that he was in some foul trouble.
Yeah, some soft foul calls.
Yeah,
too,
definitely some soft fouls. But the Tucson community endearing themselves to him can only do this team good, right? Like you look at a Koa Peat and, you know, he's deciding between some schools. You know, he's from the Valley. ASU's really pushing hard to get a guy like that in the building, right? Like ASU fans been talking about Koa Peat as if he's a Sun Devil already.
Yeah,
I feel like for a long time.
They've already anointed him as the next Sun Devil one, but he's it's funny. When is anything like this happening in Phoenix? You know,
he lives up here and he's going around to different games. He comes down to one game in Tucson, and you got tons of U of A fans packing out the place at Tucson High. U of A chants. Like, I know obviously he didn't want to talk to the media afterwards. I saw that as well. The head coach of Perry spoke for him.
Which is fair, though. You don't want
totally
to just
understandable
because high schooler still. He's still a high schooler.
There was going to be a lot of questions, I'm sure, that were very aggressive asked towards him of like, hey, so when are you planning on committing and who's leading in your recruitment right now? And he just, he didn't want to answer any of those questions. Totally understandable. He's a kid.
Yeah.
But I just think it could only provide positives for this basketball program. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel good about Koa Peat right now, Kevin.
Yeah. And Damon, do you want to know just how, good and just
how much attention,
just how impressive his skill is, Koa Peat. His skill is so impressive that it takes 4 people to guard Koa Peat. Look at this photo. It's a beautiful photo captured by Kelly Presnell of the Daily Star in Tucson.
Is that guy number 5? The guy, the short guy at the bottom?
Yeah.
That was
the person that took the photo is what I was saying.
No, but I'm saying number 5.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there. Is that his number?
Yeah, it's number 5. That's number 5.
Yeah, just a little far from me. Sorry. Bad eyes.
You're good. You're good.
Wow. Number 5 is killing me.
Yeah, I love the person at the bottom right who's just their head is in the photo, just kind of staring at it, just like, wow, like thank God I wasn't down low. You know, it's insane. I mean, we've been talking about it with Koa Peat this entire time that the level of play of the top of the top basketball recruits, right? The guys that make it to the league, the guys that go to the Dukes, the guys that go to the Arizonas, the guys that go to the Kansases, right? They look like grown men when they play in high school. They just run right through all of the opponents.
Yeah.
And that's Koa Peat to a T. I mean, you don't have this happening unless you are truly an unstoppable force at the level of which you're playing. And now, obviously it's likely none of those players are going to play at a high level of basketball, respectfully, but that's just crazy. He's giving a dude a piggyback
ride in that photo. my man number 5 is literally draped on his back. And like, I'm pretty sure Koa could literally play the entire 40-minute game with that guy giving him a piggyback ride and still put up like 20 points,
Yeah.
That wouldn't do a thing.
Yeah.
But we're going to have more coverage on Koa Peat. We're going to get someone who was inside the building and their perspective on all of this and talk to him about just kind of the vibe and the aura around Koa Peat right now and what's going on with his recruitment. I don't know if you want to tease that anymore, Kevin.
Yeah, no. Well, my good friend Javier Morales, who works at All Sports in Tucson, was in the building. So we're hopefully going to speak to him sometime soon, either today or tomorrow, and have some highlights and some takeaways from that performance for you guys. So look forward to that. And yeah, Damon, I really hope that there is a Koa Peat commitment to Arizona looming in this next. I don't know. Obviously, we don't have like a time period, but the sooner the better, right? Like I'm just waiting to get hyped and more hyped about the idea of Koa Peat playing in Tucson, and not just at Tucson High. It was kind of like a McKale Center primer, right? Get him in Tucson High, give him the experience of playing a game in Tucson around some Tucson folks, and have the U of A chance going. And he's thinking, all right, let me scale this to the McKale Center. Oh, that's probably crazy, Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for all that, Damon. What else you got for us before we wrap up here?
Yeah, we got a little bit of football news to get into. Real quick, though, I want to kind of mention this comment here in the chat from Bridge Tech Communications. He's thinking that we're going a little bit crazy, trying to prop up these last couple wins here for Arizona. And I don't really know what you're talking about, my man, because this is the Big 12. You just win 2 straight back-to-back road games. Don't really care if Cincinnati was overrated going into that game. West Virginia, obviously, Tucker DeVries not playing, so not that full team. But West Virginia went on the road and beat Kansas in Allen Fieldhouse last week, and without Tucker DeVries, as you mentioned, Kevin. That is not a 19-point victory against that same exact team that beat Kansas on the road is not something to scoff at. That is an incredible record there or game that they played there. And then also just not to mention, zero chance Arizona goes 14-6 in conference. 14-6 last year in conference would have been the 3rd place team in the Big 12. You think that that's absolutely off the table? Arizona, no chance that they can finish 3rd place in the Big 12. That is just a wild, crazy prediction. I think that you're insane for thinking that's off the table, to be honest with you. 12-8 would put you right around kind of that top of the middle of the pack, which would be probably a tournament team, but given the non-conference slate that Arizona played and kind of the lack of quality wins there, I'm not sure you make the tournament if you really go 12-8 in conference with that non-conference schedule.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you, Damon, and I think
17-3 is crazy. I told Kevin 17-3 is crazy, but the guy he loves McKale Center. Damn it,
I really do.
He's saying we will not lose at home because he's just trying to show some damn guts.
It's sacrilege to lose in the McKale Center. It's just a disrespect to everything that every player that's ever played there, Damon.
Yeah,
is what it is. But no, I think the reason we're so fired up to speak to Bridge Tech Communications, I think that the reason we're so fired up about these 2 victories is the way that it's looked, right? I think yes, Arizona looks great against a Samford or against the Central Michigan. Shout out our guy Noah, but when you look at the defensive metrics for a Cincinnati and a TCU, right? To do what Arizona did against those 2 teams offensively is an impressive thing. Now, is Cincinnati going to be a team that's relevant when it comes down to tournament time? No. They're 32nd in KenPom. They were 16th when Arizona played them. They're overrated is what they are. They will fall off. But I think that Arizona, the way that they're playing, there's a well-roundedness to their game over the last 5 games or so over this win streak here.
Yeah,
that we had not seen as fans from this Arizona team this year. And I think that's why we're so high on these victories, is because we've seen development from Carter Bryant, Henri Veesaar, KJ Lewis as well. Yes, and we're seeing these victories in large part without Caleb Love. And we talked about it during our New Year's resolutions. We have faith in Caleb Love. We're gonna keep believing in Caleb Love.
That's the big thing.
If Arizona can bank wins while Caleb Love is asleep playing out there, I think we're rightfully pumped up about these wins, but I do acknowledge that they're not the most impressive victories from just a resume standpoint.
Sure, but they are Big 12 wins, and this is the best conference in college basketball. Like, these teams would be towards the top of, I think, almost any other college basketball conference. So maybe not the SEC this year. They look to be pretty good, but I understand what you're saying, Bridge Tech. Like, they haven't shot well from three this year. 31% for as a team, like, that's below par of what you would want that number to look like. I do think that improves, though. Like, I don't expect Caleb Love to shoot 30% on the season from three.
The same way that you don't expect KJ Lewis to shoot 9 from 13. Like, we don't expect him to do that every
No.
night. But we also expect honestly,
I don't expect KJ Lewis to shoot
be
20
in the middle, right? Because
Yeah.
Caleb Love's going to have his production. Like, if KJ Lewis's production was high last night and Caleb Love's was low, right? I expect that water to kind of find a level to where Caleb Love has his average and KJ Lewis finds his average again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but here's what I don't expect from KJ Lewis: him to shoot 22% from three the entire rest of the season. Like, he's not a good 3-point shooter, but 22% is abhorrent. That's
That's a good word.
Like, that makes you want to throw up, you know? Carter Bryant feels like his shot continues to get better and better. Henri Veesaar, we haven't really seen him let it loose really from three. His teammates all say that he's a really good 3-point shooter, so I don't know if we'll see more of that. He's shooting in the 20% right now. So I do think that percentage will find its way up to that like 35, 36% range, making Arizona more of an average 3-point shooting team than a bad 3-point shooting team. But I do feel you. If that's going to be what they shoot all season long, they won't be putting up no chance they go 17-3 or whatever. But I think I don't think 14-6 is off the table. I even put in a couple of losses against teams there that I think Arizona's better than, but just tough environments.
And to be fair, you and Bridge Tech have like some common ground, because they're saying that 13-7 is a good performance, and that's kind of what they're feeling like might happen, which is only one loss.
And that's
more than what
it's
you
literally
have.
one. Yeah,
So
but
you
I
guys
agree.
are kinda on the
I
same
agree.
page.
There's almost a 0% chance of 17-3, but damn it if we won't be running with that the entire way. I will say, though, Kevin will look like a genius if somehow they pull that off. We will see, I guess. Kevin, real quick before we got out of here, I just wanted to talk about a couple transfers.
Yeah, let's talk some football.
Actually,
G-Rod in the chat.
One commitment, one transfer. I'm sorry, what did G-Rod say?
Yeah, they just wanted to know what the news was. Was there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we kind of talked about it a little bit on the show, kind of teasing it. So
yeah, Elijah Brown, cornerback, another corner. We talked about the corner room ad nauseum.
They're stocking up. They are stocking up.
It seems like the corner room is in a good spot, and I think that this might be that final addition to that room as well. When you factor in that they've gotten a Michael Dansby and a Javion Cole, Jayshon Foster Ramos. And then as well as Aiden Garnes as well from West Virginia, who they just picked up last week. This is going to be another corner. This team obviously lost a lot of corners as well, given, Takario Davis he made it official yesterday that he's going to Washington, which we had already known. But Elijah Brown from El Camino Community College in California was once committed to UC Davis, 6'2" corner. Don't know a ton about him because he is a community college guy, and not a lot of people are utilizing that community college route. I don't think as much anymore in recruiting. But this staff, they think that community college players are undervalued, I think, because they've really hit those community colleges pretty hard. And whether you agree with that or not, everyone can have their opinion. Maybe that's not the level of player Arizona should be going after, but in a vacuum, don't know much about Elijah Brown. Could be very good. But yeah, another addition to one of the deepest rooms on the team. Anything on him, Kevin?
No, I was actually gonna cue you up to talk about a hometown hero.
Correct.
Coming to the Arizona Wildcats football team. Our friend Justin Spears. I'm getting this from his Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Former Pueblo Warrior, Tucson native Flavio Gonzalez has become the 10th newcomer scholarship player on the offensive line for 2025 in Arizona, which is an insane number, Damon. 10 new scholarship offensive linemen for Arizona, and the Tucson native is the latest.
Yeah.
What do you think about this addition for the offensive line? We were talking about bulking up in the DB room. I think we're seeing something similar with the offensive line, where you're just kind of trying to acquire a bunch of talent and seeing what sticks, right, to an extent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Flavio Gonzalez projects as a guy who could potentially be in the rotation here in the offensive line. He played at Oregon State last year, started 10 games for them in 2024, and appeared in 19 contests overall, as a guard primarily. He is a guard. But like you mentioned, he went to Pueblo High School. He's from Tucson, hometown kid, transferring back in. I think, you can type of player you can only be excited about, right? Because, with all of these new offensive linemen, you just needed a lot of bodies, and you need to find that best combo that Arizona can put forth out there. And this is another guy with starter experience at a high level, and get him in the program. Hometown kid, means a little bit more to him. I love it. I'm all for it.
I am as well, and I think you need, man. I think bringing in more hometown guys, right? Even if they might not be the most impactful of player, it ups the vibes, right, Damon? It increases the familial feel of the Arizona football program, and I think that kind of got lost a little bit in the transition of between Fish and Brennan. I think like the idea that when the players chose to come back, it felt like family, right? And I think that kind of got lost over the course of this past season with all the struggles, and the vibes weren't there. So I think you add more hometown heroes, bring more hometown kids back. It kind of stressed that Arizona football, the brand, isn't going anywhere in the Valley or in the state of Arizona in general.
Yeah, no doubt. He joins Jordan Brown from Georgia Tech, Kaina DeCambra from Hawaii, Tristan Bounds from Michigan, and Ty Buchanan from Texas Tech as transfer offensive linemen that have been brought in this offseason. All five of those guys, something to note, 1 year of eligibility remaining. So they're all seniors. Definitely something to take note of. I think that, on the one hand, when you say something like they have 10 new scholarship offensive linemen, offensive line is a position where chemistry is extremely important. The guy next to you, you guys being on the same page, that can make or break an offensive line. And when you bring in an entire new roster of offensive linemen, that doesn't bode well for that chemistry necessarily. But when you counteract that with the fact that all of these guys are extremely experienced, have played in a lot of college football games, and are all seniors essentially, I think that maybe you can balance that out with that experience, and they can adapt to each other and gain that chemistry a little bit quicker. Will be interesting to find out. But Jordan Brown, Kiana DeCambra, Tristan Bounds, and Ty Buchanan, all primarily tackles. So Flavio Gonzalez, I believe the first guard that is kind of in the picture here out of those transfers. Definitely something to monitor.
Yeah, and you brought up, sorry to cut you off, you brought up the fact that they only all have 1 year of eligibility left. And it kind of, I know we're in the era of transfer and NIL and, rights, revenue sharing and all this, but what if you're Arizona, right? And I think you kind of have to pick whoever you can, right? You don't really, beggars can't be choosers to an extent, right? With the transfer portal, especially with the season Arizona just had. But it's gonna be another year of 10 newcomers next year, probably, right? If you have all this players coming in and out, you're gonna have to refill the offensive line room next year all over again.
Yes.
Which is going to be a whole new challenge. Now we're really far ahead of ourselves talking about that, but that is the first thing that came to my mind when you brought that up about how, okay, like Arizona just replenished the offensive line room. They're gonna have to do it again next year.
Yeah, they absolutely will. But will Brent Brennan have a next year? I guess that's kind of the question at hand as well. Like he needs to win now, and I think you worry about those problems afterwards. Bring in a lot of experienced offensive linemen. Have them kind of suit up, see if it works, and next year do it all over again if that's where you get and you make it to next year, I guess. But we're gonna be locked and loaded with all the much more football news as far as the portal goes. As I mentioned, Takario Davis made it official to Washington. Just heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, sad. Josue, that's probably how you say that, right? I think I did that. I think I crushed that.
Sure.
Josue, also have to take in consideration that Coach Brennan has to win now, so adding seasoned players is key. 100%. Reiterating exactly what I just said, Josue. Like this is a situation where you need players that are going to be ready to step up right now. Those 5 freshman offensive linemen, I'm just going to tell you right now, don't expect anything out of him. That's not really how college football works. Like, it is an anomaly when you get a guy who comes in as a true freshman and contributes on the offensive line. Jonas Avenea, he is an anomaly. He is the poster child of that. Do not expect that. I think that these 5 guys will probably find a combination of them in some regard, as well as with Alex Deuce at guard as well. One remaining hole on this offensive line, though. No one with experience at the center position, Kevin. You lost Josh Baker, who started at center for multiple years for this team. Was kind of a mainstay of sorts on that offensive line. Center is a position that you want to have experience at, because snapping a ball in a live game is a lot different than doing it in practice. So yeah, Arizona still needs a center. Seems to have those tackle and guard spots filled up now.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see it. That was a good breakdown there by you, Damon. I think you covered most of the bases on that. I think like the center position not being solidified as of now is I think a big we'll say orange flag.
I mean, you're pretty late into the portal process at this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a pretty big orange flag. Like it's I think it's an issue because that's the one position on the line you need experience in. Like you need someone with like a foundation of production.
If anyone's ever watched a football team that they're a fan of with a center who can't snap the ball consistently, it is perhaps the most infuriating thing to watch, because it just feels so simple, and they're clearly, the O linemen are just worried about their block and their assignment before snapping the football. We'll see. We got to get that center in, but like I said, offensive line filling itself out, football team with filling itself out with these scholarships here. Kevin, it was a great show, buddy. We did a lot here. Talked about the entire Big 12 basketball, gave you a rundown of football.
Women's basketball got covered.
A little women's basketball talk mixed in.
Yeah.
That's what
high school recruiting, basketball recruiting.
High school basketball recruiting. I mean, we hit all the angles today. Yeah. That's what the AZ Wildcats podcast does. Anything Arizona that's worth mentioning, we're gonna have it. We're gonna have it fully covered for you.
Touch them all.
No doubt about that. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure that you guys drop a like on this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It helps us out so much. Recommending, within the algorithm of YouTube to other people means everything. So please do that. Stick around afterwards. Maybe drop a comment. What do you think Arizona's record in the Big 12 will be? 20 games total, already 3-0. You let us know. Take a peek at that schedule. Drop it in the comments. We will be monitoring that. I am Damon Dog on Twitter. Make sure you give me a follow. That's DAWG. Kevo Posts is I'll say that again because I think you dogged it up while I was talking there. I don't want to mask over your at.
I was giving you your dog.
Oh, for sure. At Kevo Posts on Twitter. That's KEVOPOSTS. Give him a follow, and make sure you guys are following at PHNX_Wildcats. We'll be tweeting out live updates of games, our show tweets, recruiting information, anything Arizona. That's the hub. Give that account a follow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, like this video, subscribe to this channel. We love you guys, and we will see you on the next one.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.